Hi everyone, welcome to another one of our sessions on how to select the contracts using Python programming and Breeze APIs by ICICIdirect. So very warm welcome to everyone who has subscribed to this channel and has if you have watching this for the first time, I would recommend that you watch our previous videos on how to create your own strategy, how to create option trading strategies, how to trade, or how to even get started using, Breeze API. So before we embark on this webinar, just a quick reminder to subscribe to ICICI Direct channel because every week, almost on alternate days, we share these exciting webinar sessions on not just APIs but other products as well. So if you have any queries, any comments, do you can drop in your queries over this comment section, or you can mail to us at if you have queries regarding API, you can drop queries at breezeapi@icicisecurities.com. Otherwise, also, if you have queries related to other products, you can drop in queries in the chat box, in the comment section, or always hit us over email. So so let's get started with today's session. So the idea of this session today would be a successor to our previous webinar session, where we showed you how to write the basic template strategy if you want to place options using APIs. So we will be continuing the same webinar today. This is a sequel to the previous one. So if you haven't seen our previous video, I would highly recommend that you go over that webinar first and then see this one. The recordings would always be available every time. So yeah, that's about it. So the agenda of the last webinar was write a Python program and place a simple straddle, buy a call option and buy a put option during live market hours. And we saw that we were able to execute both the legs of the strategy quite seamlessly, and showed you around the templates where we share these codes over our GitHub page. In today's session, what we will be discussing is how you can automate the contract selection. So the idea came to me, when people are writing programs for option trading, they are, either stuck at the stage where they have to manually select the contracts. And that is true for any interface currently available, right? If you go over our website or over mobile, you have to first select the contract, write Nifty 17,000 call option, something like that. But let's say you have the intention of buying always at the money contract. You can write a simple program which can, scan the current price of Nifty and select the contract which is the closest to the spot price of Nifty or any other index that you are wishing to do. What we call this is automatic selection of contracts, and this will save you a lot of time. So the algorithm that we'll be writing today is focused on the contract selection part, and you'll understand more as we walk along. So right, I'll be sharing my screen. So let's see where Nifty is currently moving, and let's see what we can do to, capture the market movement. So as you can see, I have Heikinashi candles as a chart line for seeing how the Nifty movement is. So this is price movement for Nifty today, and I am using the watch list by ICICIdirect only. So it's quite a seamless experience to use these charts, and we will be keeping a track of Nifty very closely so that we can, uh, write the strategy. So on this particular screen, I have my charts. On this screen, I will have my code where we will put in our API keys and then run this code and see that we will execute some option contracts. And then on the next screen, we will track the open position. All right. So people who are probably seeing this for the first time, I am basically using Jupyter Notebook to write my Pythonic code. You can use any other development environment. It can be Spider, it can be VS Code, it can even be an online platform like Google Colab. And on my left screen, the chart, I'm using basically FNO watch list. So if you guys want to see that, let me. So yeah, you can always open the watch list using stocks, or you can even go up on FNO and just click on watch list. So the chart will pop up, and you can always maximize the full screen mode so that you can see the charts. All right. So yeah, before we start coding, let me also show you around the public repositories where we keep these codes. Okay, and also show you around how you can get your API keys also. So let's go over to our landing page. You can either go on stocks or on FNO, and you will see that we have the API Breeze logo available. If you will click on this, you will already be logged in inside the Breeze page, and where you can easily register your app. You can write any sample name, sell app, and you need to provide a redirect URL. But if you are unsure how to or what to put in here, you can always use the local host address. So this is an important step. Once you click this submit, you will be generating your app key and your secret key. You just need to copy this and paste it in your code here. And we have already provided the sample template on our GitHub repository. So you can get the entire code from there. But the main question or the main challenge that I have seen people get stuck at is how to register an app and how to get these API keys. So the app key secret key is here. And if you want to, generate this session key, the first two keys I have shown you how to you can create that. The third key is basically you'll have to go to the view app section and just simply log in using your DMAT credentials, and you will be able to generate those. So that is there. Also, let me show you where we keep our Pythonic codes, the example and the sample codes. And we have the Breeze Python examples as the repository on GitHub, which we maintain. And the link to all these sites will be given in the description box. So no need to search for these. You can always look at the description box and go over here. So like I said, we regularly update this repository. And if you want to see what we did last week, so I have kept this webinar straddle strategy. You can see the entire sample code is here. You can always copy paste this in your development environment and execute this. This is what a typical development environment looks like, and you can always use your own. All right, let's get started. I have already generated my API keys and session keys for today's webinar. So I wouldn't be, putting those here for confidentiality reasons. So if I were to, I have already executed this block. So let's check if my, you know, uh, session is live. Let me just try to simply get what is the order book of my account. Let's start with that. So let me just use the GitHub repo for getting the order book. So if you can look here, we have the list of SDK methods. Here you can get all the API methods available. You do not have to write your own code. You can simply use the SDK. So I'll go over order list. Simply copy this. I'll go back to my code. So I have pasted this here. Now, since my object variable name is API, I will write API here. Let's see what orders have I placed between yesterday and today. So today is 31st. So let me fetch my orders from 28th March. All right. So, okay. I have given 31st August. So that's why it is given the error. Let's do this. All right. I have so many orders. Let's see, I've placed Reliance and things like that. So yeah, my API is live. This was just to show you that my account is currently connected and we can start with the coding now. So the first block, as you guys already know, this is where you initialize your API keys, you import the required libraries, and then you set up or connect to your DMAT account. This process has been done by me, so we'll not execute this. The next block of code is the set of functions that we will be using to write our strategy. So last time we went over these functions. The number one function is get contract, and this is helpful if you want to, create the contract with all the expiry, strike price, stock code, whatever. So we use this because it simplifies the process. And once we generate that contract, you see, we are returning this contract definition. We simply pass this contract definition to, let's say, a place order function, or let's say a square of function, and this will, either place that particular contract in the market, or either it will square off that particular contract. So that is why we use contract function. Place order function and square of order function also explained last time. You can always, if you have trouble understanding what these lines of code mean, you can always go back to our previous video and see we have covered this and explained what exactly are we doing within these functions. So yeah, these functions are very self-explanatory. This place order function basically takes a contract in input and places an order, a market order for that particular contract. Then we have square of at market function, which also does more or less like the placement, but it does squaring of the contract. Next function we have is context. Now this is a event-based function. It is a callback function which basically reacts or behaves every time there is an event in the market. Now the events can be very many, but it will react to those events which you have told your program pre-hand. So let's say I have told that this function should react whenever there is a change in price of my option contract. So what it will do, it will execute this block of code whenever there will be a change in whatever things that I have told it to subscribe to. So I hope there is not much problem understanding what a callback function is. So that is there. And this line of code, which I have written, is basically to keep a track of the order book. Now, every time that we place an order, we square off an order, what happens is that we keep on pinging or polling the order book API to see what is the status of our order. Is it pending? Is it executed, or is it rejected? So I have written this line of code to tell me exactly the same without having to call the order book API. So for instance, whenever I will place an order, it will give me the status of that order automatically because I have, subscribed get order notification true. So this is the WebSockets, and this is how typically a WebSocket or a webhook works. If you have, if you're unable to wrap your head around how this channel is functioning, you can always go over the standard documentation of WebSockets, webhooks to understand how this is happening. So that is there. The next function we have is a new function that was not, covered in the previous webinar. So I have made this function to ease the life of people who want to select contracts automatically. And this is, the main core of today's webinar. What I am doing is I'm creating a function get ATM strike. And what this is, and inside that I am giving input a stock. Now this stock can be anything. It can be Nifty, it can be ACC, it can be ICICI Bank or Reliance Industries. What this function will do is it will calculate first the spot price of that particular security. So if I give, let's say, example, Nifty as a stock, okay, stock is Nifty, then the spot price would be something like, let's say 17,349 is the current value. So it should return me 17,300 should be the spot price in this variable. The next is ATM strike. What ATM strike is doing is it is calculating the nearest strike price, which is to spot price. So if it is 17,349, it should return me 17,350, right, as the strike price. So I'll write here strike is equal to 17,350. Okay. Now, what the next line is, I am basically printing out the spot price and the strike price. And then finally, I'm returning that strike price to the place where this function would be called from. All right. So let me show you a live example. You'll understand more. Before that, let me also explain you what this function is doing. So this is the socket function. It is a very simple function. What it is doing is it is starting my WebSocket connection. It is mapping my callback function, which I defined here, to my WebSockets, and then finally it is subscribing to order notifications using WebSockets. So if I comment out this line, any order that is executed, it will not come inside this function. So this is where I tell my WebSocket to react to this particular event. This is the event, get order notification. All right. So let me run this. Let's see if it got run successfully. Okay. If there was star beside this, then it was still running. But since it is showing 6 number, that means it is executed properly. All right. Now, before I run the main function, okay, let me run the main function. The main function is nothing but basically starting the execution, printing out the statement, and also calling socket function. Socket function is what we would anyways be required, right? So let me run this also. Just printing, starting execution, and yes, 7th. No errors received, yes, yet. Let me try to call this function now and see what it returns. Let's say I store whatever the value this function would return in the variable x, and inside this, let me give to it the Nifty price. Okay. And let me then print x. All right. If I run this, okay, it has printed out the spot price and it has given me the strike price. The spot price was 17,345.75. See, it was 17,345 that. And in the code, it has printed the same and it has returned me the strike price, which I'm storing in next and again printing that. So it is 7350. Now, X is basically how you can calculate the ATM strike price. Now, this is not enough. We would need to use this strike price to do something, right? We can either place an order, we can place a straddle, we can design a spread strategy, something like that. So let's do that. Let me just come down and yes, okay. What we will do is, I have already written this piece of code just to save time. What I will do is I will create a variable stock, and inside that I will store the value of whatever security that I want to work on. So I'm keeping as Nifty, and inside this variable strike, I will put in the ATM strike of this stock. Okay, let me just put it right here. Okay, and execute this. So now if I print strike, I will have 17350. Okay, now let's try to work on a strategy. Okay, so you know what strategy probably is. It is basically placing a call and put option, buying them or shorting them at the same strike price for the same expiry. Now, if you guys recall how we use our get contract function to create, a contract, it's very simple. Let me show you that again. So let's say name of the contract name is something like this. I'll remove this so that it's easy to understand. Let's say 17,000 is the contract strike. This is the contract name Nifty. This is the date of expiry, and this is the type of the option, call or put. This is the contract name, right? Now, what we do typically is we create a contract. We say we call our function, which we declared in the upper portion, which is this get contract. And what we do is we put in a name and we put in an action. Inside name, we will put in contract name. In action, let's say we want to buy this. Okay. So if I execute this, okay, I have this. Okay, this was executed. So let's see what is inside CX. So this is the contract definition it has created. It has created Nifty 17,000. This is the expiry date. This is call option. This is buy. So this function is doing nothing complicated. It is just breaking down the entire string into a dictionary of key value mapping. It does stock strike and breaks down to this. Why I break this down? Because it is now easy for me to place order by simply giving this contract. If I give this contract inside my place order function or my square of at market function, it will square off this contract if already placed. Okay, that is why I use this. So we've covered this in the last video as well, so I'll not go over this again. Now let's come to the strategy. What I am doing here is, first of all, I am creating the legs of the strategy. Okay, leg one and leg two. So this is nothing but the contract name, which I showed you, right? So how do I write contract name when I don't know what the strike price is? Because the market is, moving. Now it is at 17,357 or whatever. I don't want to manually put in 17,350 in the contract name. I want the program to do it for me. So what I will do is I will call this get ATM strike function, and I will store the strike in this variable. What I will do then is I will write the line of code putting this strike price, which I've got 17,350, inside this string, and then put this inside the variables leg one and leg two. So let's just focus on this part first. So if I run this and I print leg one, You can see that the contract name is uh, captured here nicely. What is leg 2? It is put option for the same strike. Now the next part would be to place both these legs, right? For that, we have these two lines. But first, now we are still at the contract naming stage. Now we will make the contracts. Okay, CX1 and CX2 will be my two contracts. Basically, I want to if go long on the straddle, right? So what I will do is I will click or I will select buy for both the legs. Okay, and execute this. So this would be the contract for buying the call option. This would be the contract for buying the put option. The next step is to basically create the strategy, which would be straddle extend. So what I'm basically doing is I'm creating an empty list of strategy. And what I will do is I will store all the contract, all the multi-legs that I have created so far inside my strategy list. I will execute this. You will understand that straddle is nothing, but it is basically a list of both the contracts. The number one contract is call option. The number contract two is put option. So we have straddle created. Similarly, I can create other list of strategies as well. I can create a bull call, which I will show later in this video. I can create a short straddle. I can create a multi-leg straddle. I can create, very many basket of legs. I would just have to, keep on making the contracts and simply putting them here. So yeah, now the point is, what do I do after that? What I do is basically I would need to execute that strategy. And this line of code is basically execute the entire basket of legs for me. So let me run this again so that there is no confusion. Okay, I have named the contracts, I've made the contracts, and I have created a basket of my contracts, which I've called straddle. Now I will execute the straddle. Before I execute this, there is also important to store the order IDs of these contracts, right? I want to keep a track of whatever orders that have I placed because I want to see whether they'll be executed, pending, rejected, or whatnot. So I create this variable called order book. Okay, and this is to keep a track of orders executed, order placed. I have run this. Now let me execute each leg of my strategy. So what this function will do is for each leg in my strategy. So this is basically a for loop. It will go through each of the contract of my list, and then it will place the order, each leg. And if you remember, the place order function is this, right? It will return an order ID, which I will store in my order book by appending order book append and place order. So if it is difficult for you to understand this, what I can also do is I can break it into two lines. I think this will make it simple for you guys to understand. Yes. So what I'm doing is I am placing the order and storing the order ID. And then I am storing order ID in order book list. All right. So Let me see where the Nifty is. So Nifty is currently around 350 only. So it will anyways give me the strike price of 350. So I think nothing would change. We can execute this now. Let me execute this. All right. So it has placed successfully my call buy and my put buy. Let me see the positions also. So, yep, it is here. We have both call option and put option placed. So if I look at this, right, this is the chart, and all right, this is the website interface. So we don't want to, go with this. Basically, what we want is to match whether the orders were executed from our program only or not. So let's go over to the trade book. So this is the things that we bought right now. Let's see, 7 order reference ID is, this is for call option. It is 465. For put option, it is 468. Let's go back to our code and see. Okay, order ID is 465 for call. For put, it is 468. All right. Now, many of you would question that what is this? So this is nothing but the data which I would receive whenever an order would be placed from the WebSockets. You remember I told you how this WebSockets function, right? I had subscribed to the get order notification. So what it was doing, it was printing the entire message which is coming whenever an order is placed. Since it looks very big and ugly, I would comment this line out. Okay, because I don't want to see this. What I would probably do is I would break down the entire message into just 3 things. I want the order status, I want the order reference number, I want the order flow, which is basically buy or sell, and then I want the name of the function, name of the contract. So let me just save this again and execute this as well. All right, I've done that. I have run this thing again. See, 27. 27th block is been executed again. All right. So what I will now do is, let's clear the output. Let me now square off the straddle. So, okay, execute. Now I will square off the strategy. For squaring off also, the thing would be the same. I basically want to square off each of my contract, right? Before, let me also show you what the order book looks like. Order book has, this list that we created, keep a track of orders placed. It has now stored both the executions in my this order IDs of both the executions inside it. Now let me square off this. For each leg in straddle, I want to store the order ID of the square off at market. Each leg placing the square off order. And obviously I want to store this in my order book also, so that I keep a track of square of orders as well. Let me run this now. All right, it is squaring off. The message has also come that successfully placed the order. For put also, it has successfully placed. Now you would ask me, what is this? So this is my same WebSocket, but instead of the huge payload which was coming looking ugly, I have basically created ID, action, and status. Okay, it had gave me the first message as the order is requested for put option. Then it gave me that this is your order ID for call option, executed and executed. So if I look at my open positions now, go back to my open positions. Okay, I do not have any open position, which means that my order has gone. Let me see the trade book. You see, this is the trade book, and I see that my orders have been placed absolutely well. Okay, so this is the order ID for my put option 782. For put option, the ID is 782. So see, this ID came from WebSockets, not from the order book. Order book also I can check. I have saved this in order book also. So order book may we have got this 482. But in case you don't want to call the API of order book, you can always save this also. And this does not require any API call. So for those of you who are wanting to increase their rate limits and all, this is probably the best and the standard way of getting the status of your orders. This would save you a lot of time. This is instantaneous. You don't have to always check the order status again and again. All right, so far so good. um, okay, let me clear the outputs. Let's now try to place another order. Now let's try to make the bull call strategy. So the bull call strategy is basically you want to buy a contract which is in the money and one contract which you short which is outside the money, right? So if the strike price is 17,350, okay, what you want to do is you want to buy, let's say 17,300, and you want to sell, let's say 17,400. So that way you are basically creating the payoff for bull call strategy. Okay. If you guys want to know more about option strategies, you can always Google them. I mean, there are tons of websites which tell you what exactly a bull call, calendar spread, short, long straddle, butterflies, implies are. So a bull call spread, as Google tells us, is one long call with a lower strike price and one short call with a higher strike price. So we have coded leg one is a call with a lower strike price. I have, subtracted 50 from my strike variable. The strike variable, if you guys remember, it's nothing but the at the money strike price. And leg two would similarly be the contract name for the call option, which I want to short. Contract name for short call. Okay. So once I name these, I will again make the contracts out of those CX1 and CX2. But remember that we want to buy the first contract, but we want to sell the second contract. So I have kept buy and sell. Third step is obviously to create another, basket. We can use the same. We can use, in fact, any name, but let's name it bull call spread. And I will keep both these contracts inside this. So let me execute this. Okay, it is nicely executed. Let me check what bull call spread is keeping in it. It has kept it two contracts, Nifty 17,300 call buy and Nifty 17,400 put sell. I want this to become put. We want to buy the call only, right? So let's go back and see. Okay, here we have kept PE. That's why, guys, always check the final before execution what your basket is. So let's do this CE, okay, because this is a call option. Let me execute this again. Now let's see. Okay, this is call, correct. Now let's execute this, and I will keep the square off here in case I want to square this off. So for each leg in bull call spread, place order. I am not sure if I have the funds, but all right, let's see. Either it will reject or it will go through. Let's see. Let's go to our open position. So currently there are no open positions, right? Let's execute this. Placing call by market order. All right, it has done both, but it gave me, okay, it gave me first that it was ordered. Now it has been executed. So if I go to my open positions now, all right, I have both these things created, right? We have a call option buy, we have a call option 17,400 sell. So, and this is the real time PNL. And yes, so you see how simple is it is to compile your strategies. You can simply just name the contracts, then execute them. And if you want to square off them, you can always do that. So the idea of this webinar is just to help you understand how easy it is to, place the strategies and also work on the contract selection automatically. This was the game changer in this webinar, the strike, you know, uh, this line where we are using simply a small written function which calculates the spot and the nearest strike price. Now you can play with this strike price. You can, put it inside a straddle. You can do plus 50 minus 50 to create a call spread. And you can do a lot many things. You can create a butterfly. You can which would be, sell basically at strike, then buy at strike minus 50, buy at strike plus 50. If you want to create a butterfly, it would be simply this thing that you want to sell this leg 3. Okay, and you want to buy this, and when you're putting it in extent, you're doing this. So if you guys know what a butterfly is, basically what you're seeing in front of you is a butterfly. What I'm doing is I am buying leg 1, which is in the money call option. I am buying leg 2, which is in the money, sorry, outside the money call option. And leg 3 is basically I'm selling at the money call option. But when I'm making my basket, I'm selling two calls. I'm buying CX1 and CX2. If I'll execute this, it will be as good as a butterfly being executed. Okay, I'll change it back to my bull call. But yeah, this is just to show how easy it is. All right, this is my PNL right now. Let's square this off and get out of the position. Okay, squaring off. Okay, I think the reason why, because I did not execute this. Okay, so these things can happen when, you know, um, what, why I did was, why this happened is because, so the positions are all gone, but this happened because, I created leg 3, I created CX3 also. That is why the algo was confused, that could not find that order and failed to square off. But yeah, if I had executed it just like that, it would have gone through. And anyways, the positions are cleared, but it did not find the leg 3, and that is why it gave this. Anyways, moving on. This is just a thing. We have, I've kept a bonus code as well for all you guys who are interested in making option strategies using Python. I have created a calendar spread. Okay, and calendar spread basically is you want to buy a contract at the nearest expiry, and you want to sell the same contract with a long expiry. Okay, so I can buy a call for 6th April. I can sell a call for 20th April. We do calendar spread if you want to, reduce the impact of theta as the time will go forward. Your the call option which you have bought will, lose its value, but the far far expiry contract which you have sold, that will make money. So that is calendar spread used to capture, make money out of the theta decay. But okay, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so we can execute the calendar spread, but what I want to show you as part of this thing is this time we calculated the strike prices for automatic selection, right? We can, but for calendar spread, the strike is not changing. What is changing is the expiry date from 6th April to 20th April. So next time, what we will do is we will create a function called get expiry dates, which will, get all the expiry dates available for that particular contract. So if I can show you a gist of this, um, yeah, we will create a function get expiry dates, which will take inside it the index which you want and the strike price which you want. So let's say 17,000 is the expiry dates. If I run this, okay, I think I'll have to first do this. Oh yeah, I forgot to create that function. So this is the get expiry dates function which I have written. Let me just run this. Great. Okay, now this is working. So from 6th April to 2027, I have got the expiry options for all the Nifty contracts for 17,000. Now it's very easy to imagine how to calculate short expiry and long expiry. I can create short expiry as the nearest. This is expiry dates 0. And if I want to, let's say, place on 20th April, that this is expiry dates 0, 1, 2, right? Because I have stored this entire list in this variable of expiry dates. And then I will keep short expiry and long expiry. Okay. If I check what is short and long expiry, yes, 6th April and 20th April. So now I can, put in here the same short expiry and long expiry. This is the code for get expiry dates, which we will go through in our next lecture. And hopefully it will be exciting for you as well to make strategies not just on automatic contract selection, but also automatic expiry selection. All right, guys, that's it for today. Uh, in this lecture, we saw how you can select the option contracts and how we can place them by creating basket of orders. This time we saw not just straddle, but also a bull call and calendar spread. So any questions that you have, please do put it in the chat box. Right now, I think people are asking algo slicing quantity. Okay. Oh, okay. Place order callback functions. Most of these have already been covered in the tutorial today. But yeah, thank you for your lovely comments. But you can always reach out to us at Breeze API at the ICICI Securities. Let me, we'll obviously put this in the comment section as well. But yeah, I'll just write it here so that you do not have any doubt. This is our site, Breeze API at the ICICIsecurities.com. You can reach out to us here, or you can are most welcome to drop your comments in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, and let us know what more exciting videos can we come up for you. What exactly are you looking for? How are you using your APIs? And any feedback would be most welcome. Thank you, guys. That is all for today. My name is Salil Shukla, and we'll be seeing you next time, same time, next week. Thank you. That's all.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from ICICI Direct.